In this video, we will explore different ways to format tables within Indesign CS6. Formatting a table within Indesign is a two-part video, and this is part 1. The good news is the formatting text within a table is the same as formatting text that exists in a text frame outside of a table. If you'd like to make changes to existing text, you would want to use the Text tool by typing T on your keyboard or selecting it from the tool panel, and then selecting the text. Once the text is selected, you can change the font, font size, font format such as bold, or the font color using the Control, Character, or Color panels. I'm going to demonstrate by making formatting changes to the text within the table displayed on the screen. Watch the process and how I'm using the same techniques discussed in earlier videos to format the text within the table, just like I would format text outside of a table. Although we generally format text within a table the same way that we format it outside of a table, as I just demonstrated, there are a few things that may be a bit different that we will review. To insert a tab in a table cell, you can't simply press the tab button while in the cell, because as we know from a previous video, pressing tab when you're in a table will move you to the next cell in the table. You must use the Tabs panel to define tab settings within the table. These settings affect the paragraph in which the insertion point is placed. To do so, you would activate the Type tool, place the insertion point where you want to insert the tab, then select the Type menu, select Insert Special Character, select Other, and select Tab. To change tab settings, you would select the column or cells that you want to affect, select the Type menu, and select Tabs. Notice that the Tabs panel is displayed. Within the Tabs panel, you would adjust the tab settings. For additional information on how to adjust tab settings, be sure to watch that video in a previous chapter. If you'd like to change the alignment of text in a table cell, you would activate the Type tool and select the cells that you want to change. Then select the Table menu, select Cell Options, and then select Text. Under Vertical Justification, select an Align setting, such as Align Top, Align Center, Align Bottom, or Justify Vertically. If you select Justify, you can specify the paragraph spacing limit. This will set a maximum amount of space to be added between paragraphs. For first baseline, select an option to determine how text is to be offset from the top of a cell. This setting is the same as the corresponding setting in the Text Frame option dialog box. When finished, click the OK button. The last piece of formatting that we'll discuss in this video is changing the cell inset spacing. Activate the Type tool and place your insertion point in or select a cell or cells that you want to change. Then select the Table menu, select Cell Options, and then select Text. Under Cell Insets, specify values for the top, bottom, left, and right, and then when finished, click OK. Notice that the little chain icon indicates that as we change one of the cell insets, the rest of the cell insets will change as well. If you'd like to break this link between the top, bottom, left, and right, be sure to select the chain and it will show as though it's broken. Most often, as in this example, increasing the cell inset spacing will increase the row height. If you'd set your row height at a fixed value, make sure you leave enough room for the inset values in order to cause overset text. Once you have formatted text within your table, you may find that after changing the font, format, and size, you may need to resize your columns and rows. There are several methods for accomplishing this task that we're going to explore. First, you must select the cells in the columns and/or rows that you want to resize. Then you can do one of the following. You can open the Table panel if you haven't already done so, and then specify the column width and row height settings. You could also select the Table menu, select Cell Options, and then select Rows and Columns. Within this dialog box, you can specify row and column sizes through the row height and column width options. When finished, you would click the OK button. Although these two methods of changing the cell size are acceptable, the fastest way to do so is to position the pointer over the edge of a column or row, so that you see the double arrow icon. Then left-click and drag your mouse to the left or right, or up and down so that you decrease the column's width or increase or decrease the row's height. As you can see, this method is much faster. If you'd like to resize the rows or columns without changing the table width, hold the Shift key on your PC or Mac keyboard while dragging an inside row or column edge. Keep in mind that resizing from one of the table edges will change the width of the table no matter what. With this method, one row or column will get bigger while another gets smaller. If you'd like to resize rows or columns proportionally, hold down Shift while dragging the right table border or bottom table edge, as holding down Shift while dragging the right table edge will resize all of the columns proportionally. Holding down Shift while dragging the bottom table edge will resize all rows proportionally. If you'd like to resize the entire table, you can activate the Type tool. Position the pointer over the lower right corner of the table so that the pointer becomes an arrow shape. Then, drag to increase or decrease the table size. Hold down Shift to maintain the table's height and width proportions. Finally, our last resizing option is used if you'd like to distribute columns and rows evenly. You would select the cells in the columns or rows that should be the same width or height. Then select the table menu, and then select either Distribute Rows Evenly or Distribute Columns Evenly. If your rows or columns are already equally distributed, then you'll see that no changes take place. This concludes part 1 of the Formatting a Table tutorial. In the next video, we'll continue our discussion by reviewing additional formatting options that will enhance your InDesign CS6 table.